Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and yesterday the Mets concluded a two-game set with the Toronto Blue Jays, which started with a bang and ended with a whimper. I'm going to talk about that short series, as well as some injury news, and the couple of days ahead as it pertains to this show on today's show. So the weather has been pretty crummy over the last several days, and doesn't look like it's going to be getting any better over the next several days. So this is the reality of where we are right now in May, where it just seems to rain, and rain every single day. It's like we live in Seattle now. But that didn't prevent the Mets from playing the two-game set with the Blue Jays, as I mentioned. Tuesday night, the Mets busted out offensively, scored 12 runs, had a great feeling after that game, sort of like, hey, maybe we've turned a corner here. And then yesterday the Mets lost and gave up 12 runs, so while scoring only one, mind you. So the up and down continues of this season, of this roller coaster that has been the last month of baseball. Anthony DiComo is quick to point out, as many others are as well, that this is following the same pattern as the 2015 season did for the Mets. My only caution there, my only concern there, is that as much as I love the 2015 Mets, and that season was just magical, a lot of what happened there for the Mets was due to external factors. The external factors being Matt Williams and the fact that the Nationals just couldn't get out of their own way and sort of gift-wrapped the division for the Mets. Doesn't discount that the Mets got into the playoffs and did what they needed to do there, but a lot had to go right for the Mets to have had the season they had in 2015 and have it end up the way it did. And I'm concerned that 2018 does not have those external factors, at least not yet. The Braves continue to play unbelievable baseball. They have the best record in the National League, which, come on, nobody expected that. And it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. So the Braves are in front of the Mets right now. The Phillies are in front of the Mets right now. The Nationals are in front of the Mets right now. And the Mets find themselves in fourth place, just a game over 500 in the NL East. It is still early. We've just barely passed the 25% mark, the quarter mark of the season. So there's a lot of baseball to be played. I understand that, but early signs for me are a little scary. And reading some thoughts and comments on Mets blog, particularly a good piece that Matt Cerrone wrote, talking about how Sandy Alderson, he sort of does not envy the position that Sandy Alderson's going to be in a month or so, when he's going to have to decide whether this team should be buyers or sellers at the deadline. There are certainly pieces that the Mets can trade to get back good quality pieces in return. The question is whether they'll be in a position to do that, or whether they'll be looking to acquire. And at this point, nobody knows, because it's been 2 weeks of phenomenal baseball, followed by 3.5 to 4 weeks of just garbage baseball, well below 500 baseball. So how do you assess that going forward? You pay close attention to the next 30 days of baseball. That's the way it goes. What happened in the past does not always indicate what's going to happen in the future. So it's worth paying attention to the fact that the Mets can very easily reverse their fortunes. But, and there's a big but here, that's going to be difficult with the injury news that's come out over the last couple of days. As we know, Cespedes was placed on the DL prior to yesterday's game, so Yo did not play officially prior to yesterday's game. He did not play on Tuesday, so they were able to backdate the start of his DL stint to Monday, I believe, which was an off day. And he won't miss that much time with the off day on Tuesday and the off day today. But the Mets are without Cespedes now, and although he's sort of downplayed it and said I can play through it, I don't remember if it was John Ricco or Mickey Callaway's comment that said we're not sure that Yo's going to come off the DL after 10 days. And that part's scary, because we've seen this story before and it doesn't end well. So Cespedes goes on the DL, but going back to what happened on Tuesday night, where the Mets just completely crushed the Blue Jays and put up a big offensive output. They did that without Cespedes in the lineup. And a lot of that was due to the contributions of Juan Lagares, who now once again has an opportunity to play, and he's taking full advantage of it. And while Brandon Nimmo has really stepped backwards after his hot start, and we can talk about reasons for that and whatnot, but we're not going to. But Brandon Nimmo stepped backwards, Lagares has stepped forwards. He's performed quite well in limited appearances. The reason I bring it up is that after yesterday's game, Lagares was said to have sprained his toe. So who knows if a DL stint is on the horizon for Lagares. The Mets had Phillip Evans called up in place of Cespedes on the roster, playing left field, where he's out of position yesterday. Yesterday was a dismal game. The weather was dismal. I felt really bad for Zach Wheeler because Wheeler looked really good at the beginning of the game and then had to sit around for almost a half an hour and do nothing, and then he came back and he had lost all of his control. So it's not fair to judge Wheeler on what happened yesterday. It was just an unfortunate circumstance of the weather and needing to get the game in and whatever. So back to the injury front, the other thing I wanted to mention was Todd Frazier, who is eligible to come off the DL tomorrow. I read on Yahoo this morning that he will not be coming off the DL, or he might not be coming off the DL tomorrow when eligible. So that's fabulous news as well. We were led to believe that this was a precautionary DL stint for Frazier, and now he's going to be on longer than 10 days. So how precautionary was it really? It's like the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I don't know. Interesting to watch, I suppose. As I mentioned, the Mets are off today. Tonight, I will be in New York City. I got invited by a good friend to go see and meet Noah Syndergaard in Manhattan. So I'm going to be doing that tonight. I'm going to actually be in New York overnight tonight, and tomorrow the Mets open up their weekend series with the Diamondbacks, at least they're supposed to. Interestingly, I'm supposed to go to the Saturday and Sunday games this weekend with my brother, weather permitting. No one knows. So we'll see what happens with the weekend series. It makes me yearn for a park that actually has a retractable roof, which frankly, after this month, I think all stadiums and all owners should really strongly consider having retractable roofs on every stadium. It would make for a lot simpler scheduling early in the season, and it would make for a lot cleaner second half of baseball without losing off days to make up games from April and May. So that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Again, I will not be back probably until Monday after the weekend series, after I get back. But please let me know your thoughts about where the Mets are going. I want to know if you think Cespedes. I want to know if you think Sandy's going to be a buyer or a seller at the deadline. I'm torn and I'm not making a decision yet. But are you? Let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter at Mr_Met or in the comments section below this video. Thanks for watching, much appreciated, and as always, let's go Mets.